Going to talk about measures of central tendency. The measures of central tendency describe a set of data by identifying the central position in the data set. For example, if you're looking at a data set which has like thousands or millions data samples, you would have to define it so that it can be used in any executive summary or in any report. You cannot just put in all million numbers in that. So you would have to work out a metric or statistic that works better to describe that data set and use that to put it in any summary or any report. Before we go into the application of different statistics available to for measures of central tendency, let's first quickly look at like how to calculate those statistics. So those statistics are like mean, which is also average, a median, and mode and range. Now let's understand how to calculate those with a very simple data set. This data set is, you can assume it like there is a class of five students and they appeared for an exam which was of 100 marks, and out of 100 these are the marks that they got. One of them got 100, 95, 93, 60, and 50. Now mean, which is average, you would have to sum all the marks of the in the data set, which is 398, and then you divide it by total number of data samples, data points in it. So in this case there are like five data points. So the average or mean is 79.6 for this data set. Then the second statistic is median, which is the middle number in sorted order. So you have to sort this data set 50, 60, 93, 95, 100, and median is 93. Mode is the most frequent number in a data set. If there isn't any, then there is no mode. So in this case, there is no mode. Range is, it is telling you like largest minus the smallest. Largest is 100, smallest is 50. So the range of this data set is 50. Now let's think about like what these statistics are and what is the use of those. Like in this case, if you are a teacher, you are looking at the marks that your students scored, and you want to understand like how your class did. So you can't just look at the marks of one student and say that your class did fantastic. Like if you're only going to look at this particular student who scored 100, then your class did fantastic. But that is not the case. So you should look at like average. So on an average, the average score is 79.6. Now whether it is good or not, like it depends upon like what is the teacher is trying to achieve. But if supposedly the goal is like average per student is 90, then clearly you are way off. So he or she can work out like whatever is needed to improve. So that is where average is important for such a case. Now median, again in the same example, is also important. Like if you want to assess like whether half of my class is doing good or not, and that can be done by just looking at median. Like in this case, median is 93, which tells to that teacher that yeah, 50% of the class is doing well. It is they are scoring above 93. So that's again a way to look at data. Now here we are only talking about like five data points, but think of it like if you are someone who has to look at a data set which has 100 data points in that, or 500,000 millions, identifying that metric that means most for you, that is important. And then you can work, create plans, etc. for that, and monitor progress. So that is where like you would have to think like which statistic works best for you. Now say mode. Mode may not be, in this example I don't find a good use why someone would use mode. But for example, if you are like if you are analyzing some data that has salaries of employees, then there it could have some application that like how many employees are getting like the which salary is more frequent. Like for example, $5,000, you have 1,000 employees and 5,000 is more common. So it can give you some information that the most frequent number is 5,000. Then range is important. It tells you where your bottom is and where your start is. Like in this case, a teacher might be happy with the average is also great. It is about 80, not so great, but it is still good. But when you look at range, then that will tell you that, oh, even though your other metrics are good, but range is high, that means that there are some students who are not doing good at all. So in that case, you can put more focus on that if that's what you want to achieve. So anyways, so that's about the measures of central tendency. I hope the examples were clear. You can ask me if you have any questions. Thank you.